Announcing the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Phase 5 Thunderbolts movie at this year's San Diego Comic-Con, Kevin Feige and the good folks at Marvel Studios also took advantage of their platform at the D23 Expo and revealed the ragtag vigilante team's official lineup. Speculation among fans ran its course leading up to that moment. Theories and questions revolving around which MCU characters, old and new, would join the Thunderbolts roster. Now knowing who our starting 7 misfit supers are, we reckon it's perfect time to make a video examining and ranking the confirmed members of the MCU Thunderbolts thus far, as well as doing a little speculating of our own. With all that being said, let's go ahead and dive right into it. Consider this entry to be an honorable mention of sorts. I would be truly remiss if I did not mention the shock of everyone when discovering that the likes of Baron Helmet Zemo and the Abomination were not chosen as initial members of the MCU Thunderbolts. I mean, Zemo was a key part of the original comic team. However, this doesn't mean that Abomination or the Baron won't join the team at some point in the near future, especially considering the latter being a founding member of the team on the page. Don't be surprised if we see other characters like Hawkeye or Photon eventually join the Thunderbolts. They weren't technically on the roster in the comics, so it does kind of work. Over the years, many notable characters have been part of this Avengers Contrast crew who have graced TV series, movie screens, and comic book pages. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the anti-hero unit expand and evolve over time. With that out of the way, let's get on to the official list. Seemingly responsible and tasked with putting the Thunderbolts together inside of the MCU, Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine was never actually a member of the team in the comics. Regardless, Val remains a highly mysterious and enigmatic character. Portrayed by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, little is known about Contessa Valentina beyond her few MCU appearances. What is known is that she is an expert tactician and strategist, is highly intellectual and brash, and apparently has exceptional wealth backing her recruitment efforts. Working for an organization interested in people with superhuman abilities, possibly connected to some subsection of the government, Val's ties and clout seem to run deep in the underworld of international dark ops and private military contracting. Credited with essentially creating the US agent after consoling the off-kilter John Walker and convincing him of how much of an asset he would be for someone like her, Val has also been employing Yelena Belova for some time now behind the scenes. In the comics, Valentina Allegra de Fontaine has deep ties with both S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra, although both factions appear to be disbanded entirely at the MCU at this point. It could be revealed that her true vocation is far more nefarious, or possibly even heroic, than we might imagine. In the MCU, Jonathan Walker is your classic all-American boy and former captain of the United States Army's 75th Rangers Regiment. Furthermore, he was chosen to succeed Steve Rogers as the new Captain America. After taking the Super Soldier Serum, which reacted poorly with his mentality, and murdering a member of the Flag Smashers, Walker was discharged and spiraled further into near madness. Convinced of his worth by Val, old Johnny Walker would become the US agent and appears to be more than happy and ready to lead the Thunderbolts in whatever off-the-book missions that lie ahead. An eventual member of the Thunderbolts in the comics, US Agent John Walker has also taken on the mantle of Super Patriot, a guise used to combat Captain America before taking on that mantle for a time as well. With powers precisely similar to Steve Rogers, Walker has never quite honed his abilities quite like his patriotic counterpart. Feeling inadequate in his efforts of living up to the Captain America name, John Walker is a wild card and is not afraid to do whatever it takes to get the job done. Yelena Belova, sister of Natasha Romanoff and fellow Black Widow, has been behind the scenes of the MCU working for Val since the aftermath of the blip. As one of the many Black Widows that exists within the MCU, Yelena Belova believed her sister Natasha's best friend Clint Barton, aka Hawkeye, was responsible for her death during the events of Thanos' universal takeover. Realizing that this wasn't the case and that Barton actually loved Natasha, deciding to go against her mission, she left the Hawkeyes to their devices and disappeared into the night once more. Known as White Widow in the comics, Yelena Belova is not actually related to OG Black Widow. Rather, she idolized Romanoff and was obsessed with surpassing her idol in skill. Extensively trained in espionage, most known forms of martial arts, and pretty much all types of weaponry, Yelena has never actually joined the Thunderbolts in the comics, rather infiltrating and often working against them. Her character absolutely fits the mold for the vigilante lineup though. Plus, Florence Pugh is just fantastic, so more Pugh please. Alexei Shostakov, also known as the Red Guardian, is the adoptive father of both Natasha Romanoff and Yelena Belova, and is essentially Russia's version of, and answer to, Captain America. Injected with the Soviets' attempt at replicating the super soldier serum, the two counterparts possess very similar abilities, albeit Alexei's more focused on strength and power rather than speed and agility. Again, not a member of the Thunderbolts in the comic books, but soon to be one in the movies, Red Guardian has learned a lot about working as a team. As seen in the Black Widow movie, Red Guardian thrives off of challenging himself and protecting his family, fueled by feelings and memories of nostalgic adventures and missions from his past. Joining his daughter Yelena Belova in whatever Black Ops are in store for the Thunderbolts team during the upcoming Phase 5 movie, I am overly excited to see the struggle for leadership and humorous banter that is sure to take place between the Red Guardian, who claims he has fought Captain America in the past, US Agent, who's virtually a cosplay Captain America, and the Winter Soldier, Captain America's actual best friend. In the MCU, Antonia Dreykov is the daughter of the dastardly General Dreykov, who implanted Antonia's brain with a chip, controlling her body and mind, turning her into the Taskmaster. In the comics, Taskmaster is a gentleman by the name of Tony Masters, who was a former S.H.I.E.L.D. field agent turned mercenary and assassin. Focusing back in on Antonia though, the chip her father used to control her actually imbued her with uncanny photogenic muscle memory and reflexes, allowing her to completely mimic her opponent's fighting style, moves, and mannerisms. Taskmaster was last seen being taken into the care of other saved Black Widows and has seemingly lived in peace. Psych! She has probably been employed as a weapon by Val and has more than likely been aiding in assembling the Thunderbolts roster this whole time. Yeah, now that sounds a lot more like it. A legitimate and eventual member of the Thunderbolts roster inside of the comic books, Bucky Barnes, aka Winter Soldier's next adventure inside of the MCU, will surely be his most interesting endeavor yet. As mentioned previously, the fact that Bucky is on a team with a guy dressed like his actual best friend Steve Rogers, and another guy who's claimed that he has nearly beaten Captain America and has possibly even encountered Winter Soldier in the past as well, the funny banter, underlying beefs, and struggle for dominance will surely be prominent in the movie. Frozen in time and used as an assassin, Bucky Barnes had a powerful metal arm fashioned onto him. That, plus all of the other stuff that Hydra did to him, essentially turned him into a super soldier of sorts as well. After battling with Captain America and being healed by Wakandan doctors, the Winter Soldier realized he would rather join his best friend and help him save the universe from Thanos than become a farmer. Since then, the Winter Soldier and the Falcon teamed up in a global adventure which would see the latter donning the mantle of the new Captain America. Although Bucky has proven himself more heroic than not in recent times, his dark past as a mind-controlled assassin will definitely have some more light shown on it, as he joins the morally ambiguous Thunderbolts. Ava Starr, daughter of a brilliant scientist who perished due to the uncontrollable nature of Ava's origins, has adopted the name Ghost and has not been seen since the events of Ant-Man and the Wasp. With fans asking to have the character brought back in some capacity, they were surely elated to see Ghost in the official Thunderbolts lineup. Capable of rendering herself intangible and generating extreme amounts of energy garnered from the quantum realm in an experiment gone wrong, Ghost will more than likely be the most powerful member on the initial Thunderbolts team. A member of the Thunderbolts in the comics, Ghost's character remains just as enigmatic, with an entirely different backstory. On the page, Ghost was a man who was a promising engineer for a major computer corporation who created Ghost Tech, which enabled his powers. And then he did a bunch of gross and really weird stuff that I don't want to get into here. Nonetheless, MCU Ghost would 100% cap our rankings as the most powerful member of the MCU Thunderbolts, but I would be fooling myself if I did not include at least one more entry that's a lot more speculative, but I'm sure y'all saw it coming, so let's get to it. Sadly, not that long ago, Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross actor William Hurt tragically passed away before we ever got a chance to see the conclusion of his rivalry with Bruce Banner. It is also unclear how Marvel will choose to handle or swerve this into a storyline regarding the cinematic universe, especially considering the fact that the team shares a name with the man himself, even though on the page that's not actually where the team got its name. In the comics, Ross was so obsessed with the Hulk that he eventually conducted an experiment on himself, transforming him into the Red Hulk. Although Ross has full control over when he transforms into or out of the Red Hulk state, he is definitely not as powerful as OG Hulk pound for pound. Perhaps Marvel has some archived footage of the late and brilliant actor in character that can be refashioned to fit in with the Thunderbolts movie, showing that he was partially responsible for creating the team all along, as many of us speculated. My theory on this matter, however, is that A. Ross is involved, just not the one you're thinking of. It's Ross's daughter Betty, who's been helping Val behind the scenes this whole time. Now that's a little absurd, but hear me out. In both the comic books and in the MCU, Betty Ross loves Bruce Banner and would do anything to protect him. That being said, in the comics, Betty Ross also passed away and was somehow resurrected into the Red She-Hulk, taking after her father in a lot more ways than you would think. Perhaps also taking on her father's nickname in the MCU, Betty Ross may be the person in charge of the Thunderbolts. And that's our list. Who would you like to see join the Thunderbolts team down the line? Let us know in the comments, and please hit the like and subscribe buttons, and if you have the time, click the notification bell for even more crushing comic content.